Reading today, Ode to Silence, was written by Reverend Mark Bellantini. You, silence, are the ground on which we build the fragile sandcastles of our every spoken word. You, silence, are quicksand where curses and cockiness and arrogance find their end. You, silence, are the strand of beach we stroll where loneliness turns into solitude. And our small heartbeats join the more vaster heartbeat of tide and wave. You, silence, are the hand in which the pearl of the universe, grown around the painful grain of human suffering, rests in heartbreaking beauty. You, silence, are the wide, bright delta into which the river of this prayer fans out before it flows into the indigo deep, quiet, dark, and lovely. Come, silence, feel this moment. There ends the reading. Stillness is a primary source for increasing our foresight and creative solutions. Inner stillness is a place where our heart can speak to us without our mind running it off the road. However, in order to be still and know, we first have to be still enough to listen, because change can enter our lives silently, and this change can be just as important as the change that we work for. Meister Eckhart informs that we should be willing to be a beginner every single morning. Being still is like replenishing the stores, and stillness is powerful because it allows us time and space to self-reflect and actually hear our thoughts. How many times have we told friends or children to get still inside and listen up because we have something important to tell them? The stillness of the mind refers to a state in which the mind's constant chatter subsides, resulting in a calm and tranquil mental state. It is a state of inner peace and clarity in which the mind is free of excessive thoughts and distractions, allowing one to fully present in the present moment. According to the Vedic scriptures, cultivating mental stillness begins with learning to consciously control one's thoughts. To that end, we must stop wasting energy on things like fear and negativity, and redirect that energy towards developing positive mental habits and qualities. Stillness can be cultivated while walking on a busy street, even while chaos swirls around. The key is to set a stillness intention, to be aware of how we carry ourselves in any given moment, and to concentrate on what we can control. For example, we could physically slow down by sitting, slowly walking, or even lying down. We can reduce external stimuli in our environment by turning down the lights and playing soft music. Playing soft music is a favorite of mine for creating a calm atmosphere at our house. I even use that to keep my dog calm when we leave her alone. When our mind finally lets go, inner stillness is where we land. From there, we can reset and upgrade the experiences of life. Many spiritual cultures agree that inner stillness creates an energetic environment for supporting our advancing consciousness. This can unleash the transformational power of love. Moreover, with this spiritual transformation, a fundamental change can occur and replace the character of the sacred as an object of significance in life, and to a fundamental change in the pathways individuals take to the sacred. The three stillnesses are those of body, speech, and mind. The Buddha used the term door for body, speech, and mind, as they are the three means that sentient beings use to function and interact within the world. However, stillness requires a little practice because our mind will try to occupy that space or any space if the door is left cracked. The methods that use stillness as a way of meditation is profoundly simple. And the earlier we learn the value of inner stillness, the less we need experience the more stressful ways of life that nudges us into considering higher choices for personal peace and happiness. It's a forward-moving choice, and it's highly effective to schedule times for practice of inner stillness, allowing our heart, mind, and emotions to experience time out from competing over the choices we make. Stillness softens our determined mental and emotional traffic so that our heart speak can be heard. Practicing stillness helps us to connect with our heart's intelligent guidance and make decisions we can feel good about. It's also an effective practical step for creating a less stressful, happier life. In stillness, some very positive changes can unfold. And the most life-altering changes are those that come from within. Unfortunately, few people are aware of the importance of silence in their lives. The hustle and bustle of everyday life not only makes relationships we have with others fragile and superficial, but also the relationships with ourselves. When we are surrounded by noise, we don't have time to ask ourselves what we really want. But in stillness, we open the way to introspection and are led to ask ourselves where we're going and what we really want. But to just sit in a quiet place and enjoy silence is something that very few people do. However, if you persist, you will notice how stillness helps you relax, both mentally and physically. It may feel strange to sit alone in stillness doing nothing at first, and perhaps you may only be able to sit still for 5 minutes at a time. But this state of calm invites us to look within ourselves and allow silence to not only teach us to feel good about ourselves, but to feel at ease doing nothing and enjoying our own company. Imagine stillness as a peaceful place where you are taking a time out. As thoughts come up, don't push against them. Casually refocus on breathing love and peace into the stillness. Our higher choices become more obvious as we increase our capacity to listen in stillness to our heart's intelligent guidance. I'm aware that emotional fragility plays a part in some people's struggling with being isolated or alone. However, I must say that I really enjoy my own company. As an only child, I learned how to feel at ease just sitting still at a very young age, and I've continued the practice throughout my adult life. And during the 2 years that we were at home through the COVID-19 lockdown, I was perfectly at ease. When we're in a noisy environment, our senses are limited. But when we're in silent places, our perception expands. so that being calm and relaxed helps us develop attention, concentration, and also expands perception of our surroundings. Tranquility helps us to see life from different perspectives, because when we're alone with our thoughts, we begin to glimpse the 1,001 reasons for being thankful. This simple fact alone is good reason to feel grateful. To become absolutely still, we have to take care of basics, which are easy to understand, but takes constant effort in this direction. Starting from the body being at ease and the mind having lesser thoughts. It's only when we turn inward and start noticing these changes do we become aware of what is we need to do. Stillness and being alone can teach us the value of simplicity in life. In these moments, we realize that we don't need many things to have a full life, and we learn to be happy with what we have. The refusal to admit changes into our life is a major obstacle to transitions and transformation, because remaining alone in silence allows us to discover fears inside, which are usually covered by noise. We then notice that many of these fears are meaningless, and with that comes spiritual growth and change. Silence gives us a lesson in courage. Many people think that courage is about facing fear, but values lie in dealing with our own internal fears. Turning inward results in an organic dissolving of the shadows that obscure our inner light and our freedom seeking. Stay with it. And don't worry if your mind disrupts you. To get benefits out of stillness, you don't have to totally stop the mind. Just by reducing thoughts and calming yourself will improve the capacity to sense your heart feeling, and this will improve with patience and practice. Moreover, in a short amount of time, the power to quieten your mind will increase. As you feel your energy calming, radiate love to something or someone you care about. While maintaining your state of calmness, ask your heart for guidance, solutions, or deeper understanding regarding life issues that you're experiencing. This process ultimately leads to spiritual transformation. The mystic Khalil Gibran tells us that at some point in our lives, we must experience the breaking of the shell that encloses understanding, which means shedding of the old with the emergence of a renewal of the spirit. And with spiritual transformation comes a deeper, more joyful, peaceful, loving approach to relationships with others and the holy. If inner stillness didn't produce high-value results, think of all the centuries of time that meditators and spiritually conscious people would have wasted throughout history. Spiritual transformation is what happens when we evolve on the level of the soul. It can occur slowly, throughout time, or in an unexpected, fast, or intense way. In essence, spiritual transformation is about returning closer and closer to the center of our being. And it's the culminating point where all of our inner work begins to pay off. However, the rewards that we receive may not always be what we expect. They are what we need rather than what we want. But of course, it's entirely possible to get both, and what we want and need, because as a cyclical process, spiritual transformation is bound to happen to all of us that are walking the spiritual path. Not just once, but many times over. And each time it helps us to embody deeper layers of our true nature. The true nature of the self can look different for each individual, but it generally involves a sense of clarity, authenticity, and alignment with one's core values and beliefs. This process can lead to personal growth, increased self-awareness, and a greater sense of inner peace. It often involves self-reflection, introspection, and mindfulness practices, so that we begin to gain a deeper understanding of our thoughts, emotions, and motivations. Spiritual transformation also involves a deep sense of self-acceptance and compassion towards ourselves, so we're able to recognize and accept both our positive and negative aspects without judgment. This reveals our innate respect for the value of stillness. So why not use it in the way it can count the most? To quiet our mental and emotional static so we can hear the counsel from our heart's intuitive suggestions for better choices and outcomes. From my heart to yours,